in heaven, it's again today, Lord. We're grateful for this day that you blessed us with. We know that you understand and know all the needs according to the Word of God.
Well, tell me a little bit about where all these skillets and frying pans and all came from.
Well, they come from my wife's grandma, give her some of them, and my wife's mama and my mama give her some. She liked them old timing pans. She collected them. We got some. We stopped at a flea market down in South Carolina. That's the only thing she bought, one of them frying pans. She enjoyed collecting them.
So did she use them on a wood stove or regular stove?
She used them on a wood stove, yep. Sure did.
Did she have a favorite, or she just always whatever she had to use?
Just which one to hold the most, I guess. Yeah, she used them on a wood stove.
So what do you remember being made in those? What kind of foods did you cook?
Cooked taters, beans, and squash. She'd fry squash and fry eggs. Everything that we had to eat, she fried it in them pans. Yeah.
In the mountains of Appalachia, some things were made to last, not because they were meant to be saved, but because they were meant to be used. Day after day, meal after meal, generation after generation. Cast iron was never fancy, it wasn't delicate, it was made to last. In a place like this, that matters. Hello, I'm Tim Barnwell. We begin this episode by visiting Ken Parker and his daughter Kim in Madison County, North Carolina. Ken's late wife Martha spent a lifetime cooking with cast iron. Now Kim wants to see 3 of those pans restored and passed down to the next generation. My good friend Scott is going to help her with that. So stick around. You might learn a thing or two about your own family's cookware. Now let's finish up this bacon and get started.
So I think originally I did a griddle for you, and it was a Wagner, I believe, and I think Angie wound up with that one.
She did, and it was Mom's, of course, and she cooked with it, and you did that one for her, and it turned out beautifully. It was just, and you were asking me earlier if she cooked with it, but I think it's probably on display. She just because it was Mom's, and then we were talking about what to do with these. I would really like for you to do these for my sister-in-law and my 2 nieces. I know they would love to have something of Mom's, and I'd like for them to have these.
These skillets, hanging quietly on the wall of an old back porch washroom, carry more than just years. They carry a family. They were used by mothers and grandmothers in kitchens where meals were made from what was grown, and time was measured by seasons, not clocks. Over time, they were set aside, not thrown away, just waiting for someone to recognize what they still held.
I enjoy just redoing cast iron in general, but I really, really love it when it has that family tie. It means a lot to me to restore them and to have them be passed on down.
Absolutely. Well, my sister-in-law was more of a daughter to my mom than she was a daughter-in-law, that's for sure. And Mom loved her just like she loved us, and I really want her to have one of Mom's iron skillets. Mom collected them. Some of these, I'm not sure where these in particular are from, but I know that my mom had some of my great-grandmothers and my grandmothers, both of my grandmothers. So these may be one of theirs, I'm not sure. But these, Mom cooked out of them. Thank you, Scott. This means so much to our family to have these redone. I know Mom would be proud to have them redone too.
Well, I'm glad you trusted me with them, and I'll take care of them and get them back to you as soon as I can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You gonna help me out?
I'll be glad to.
From Madison County, North Carolina, the pans traveled to Scott's shop in Saluda, North Carolina, to be restored. Coming up, you'll get to see the whole process and learn how to season your own pans and clean them after cooking. You may even pick up a bit about how to recognize what's in your own kitchen cabinets, and we'll talk to a collector who loves cast iron and has a building full of it. So stick around to the end to see Kim and her family's reaction to having her mother's skillets brought back to life.
So this is one of the skillets that Kim gave to us to redo. And this is a Birmingham stove and range. You can see it's pretty gunked up, got some rust on it. But this is a Century series, Birmingham stove and range. It's got the ridge on the handle. It's got made in the USA on it, which was something they started doing in the 60s, 1960s. So this also has smaller ears, which puts it in that Century Series Birmingham stove and range. So this is a number 6 Wagner. Again, one of the ones that I think belonged to Kim's mom and was hanging on the wall there at Ken's house, Ken Parker's house. Number 6 is a little bit of an unusual number, but this was probably manufactured in the 50s, late 40s, early 1950s. And like I said, it's a Wagner, it's marked Wagner. And you can see that it's got a good bit of rust on it that's going to need to come off, and that'll probably be done in the electrolysis tank. But this is going to be a beautiful little pan when it's done. This is the 3rd skillet, and this is the one that interests me the most. I'm not sure exactly what it is. You see that it's got all this stuff built up on it. I really can't see any markings on it. There are some things that give me some clues. This may be a no-notch lodge, which makes it pretty old. So I'm interested in getting it cleaned up and seeing exactly what it is. I don't see any notches in the heat ring, but I can't see anything else on it. So more than likely a no-notch lodge, but it could be a bird's burrow as well, and we'll know that when we get into it and get it cleaned up.
And this heat ring that's on the bottom of all these things, it's for the old wood stoves where they kind of sit down in there in the burner?
That's exactly right. All of the original skillets would have been manufactured to fit wood stoves. The wood stove manufacturers made skillets to fit their wood stoves. And these heat rings were made to fit down into the eyes of the wood stove when you removed the metal top on it. Some manufacturers started to lose this later on as people moved away from wood stoves. If you'll notice on the bottom of the Wagner, there is no heat ring. Earlier versions of Wagner had the heat ring, but as they moved away from the wood stoves, they moved away from the heat rings. You can still cook on a glass top stove with a heat ring. In fact, I prefer it. I prefer to have that little bit of distance that the heat ring gives so that the surface of the skillet's not directly on the eye.
And these cast iron hold their heat real well compared to modern pans that we think of for the kitchen today.
I think they do. I think they hold it longer and they hold it more smoothly. They take a little longer to heat up. Some people, when they first start cooking with cast iron, they'll move away from it for that reason. It's not as an immediate response. It takes longer to heat up to the temperature, but once it reaches that temperature, holds it and holds it way more steady and will hold it longer.
So just, you have to learn how to cook with them.
You do have to learn how to cook with them, but it's what I prefer to cook with. It's mostly what I cook with all the time.
Why do you think you are attracted to that?
I didn't grow up cooking with cast iron. My sister does have a Wagner, a hammered Wagner that my mom had, and I remember it when I was young. But it's something that I came to later on. I think our work on the channel and being around mountain folk a little bit more got me interested in cast. And then I just started cleaning them and restoring them because the ones that I was finding were old and kind of in bad shape. And it just got me into it more and more and more. And then I started cooking with it all the time, and now I wouldn't cook with anything else.
In the cold days in the wintertime, we would build a fire in here so it would help heat the house. The children loved it because it's a good place on the winter days when there was snow and no school. We would bake stuff on the stove and use it for comfort in the kitchen. It was always warm and comfortable in the kitchen, good place to talk to the children and for them to play and ask questions. So it was a kind of a centerpiece of the kitchen. My mother would get up when she was still here, and she would get up and build a fire and cook breakfast in 30 minutes. I would lay the fire, we call it laying the fire. In the firebox, you cut your shavings or some paper, whichever is available, and put that in and put some small wood in, and then put your other wood in, and then all you have to do the next morning is strike a match in the bottom.
when I was just a boy, she didn't call us to breakfast but one time. She come in the bedroom, and when she would usually start the fire and get breakfast started, and then she would come in and say, "Boys, it's about breakfast time. You got to get up." And we didn't question where we needed to get up or where we had to get up. We just got up.
So when they cook on the cooktop here, you're using pretty much cast iron, right?
That's basically what everybody had when this cook stove was being used. That's basically the cookware that they had.
So was it handed down from your mom to you or anything?
Yeah, I think some of this is new, but we've got a few pieces that's been handed down.
So do you like cooking on a wood stove?
I do in the winter time. Now in the summertime it gets a little warm. You don't want to do that. But in the winter time, yeah, because things cook slower. You can slow it down, you know, and better than you can an electric stove. Things just taste better on a wood cook stove.
So what all kind of things do you cook on your wood stove?
Well, I've got soup beans cooked today in the Dutch oven here, they call that. And I got some cornbread that I baked in the stove oven, in the wood cook stove oven. And I didn't burn it because you really have to regulate the oven to get it right. I baked biscuits in it before, and lots of biscuits in it. Fried potatoes. I love fried potatoes fixed on it in one of the big pans. This one here that fries potatoes good. Now if you want to deep fry, I've got the deep fryers like this that you can deep fry like fish or chicken or something in. So that works well. You can fix anything you want to, you know, but other stuff that don't require a lot of, you know, just warming up, yeah, you can just heat it over on the side. You didn't really need a microwave when you had a wood cook stove. You just kind of set it over on the side and stirred it once in a while and it got warm.
Did you use cast iron for a lot of stuff, cooking?
Yeah, I like it. It doesn't wear out. You keep it for years.
So what other kinds of things did you fry up in your cast iron?
Oh, you can fry eggs, bacon. Bacon does real good. Even have a griddle over here. I set them off because they get too hot if you leave them on there too long. Have a griddle. Make griddle cakes, or you can make pancakes or whatever you want. Well, you can even fry stuff on it, like eggs and stuff if you want to. I always use my pans like this size, though, like to make gravy. I love gravy fixed on it. It's really good.
When you first look at the pans, you don't always see what they are. You see rust, buildup, years of use that have taken their toll. But underneath all of that is something unchanged. Restoration isn't about making something new. It's about revealing what's been there all along. Carefully, patiently, layer by layer, the years begin to fall away. So tell me about your setup here.
So the first thing we have is the lye bath and the vinegar bath. And this is what most people who first start out will have. They're easy to put together and they're effective. They just take a little while. The lye bath you have to be careful with. It will burn you. It's very strong and it will burn you. The vinegar bath you can put your hands right into, no problem. But the vinegar bath will actually etch the metal. You can't leave things in the vinegar bath too long, or it can harm the surface of the metal. The lye bath is for anything that's organic. Any kind of organic matter, it will eat that up and take that off. If you've been into it for a little while, a more effective way to treat this stuff is in the electrolysis tank. And this is the electrolysis tank that I put together. It's just a mixture of water and the laundry booster that you see there in the yellow box. That's what conducts the electricity through the water. So you have to have an older, later model battery charger. If you have a newer one, it won't work, it'll trip it. All the new regulations and the safety stuff that's built into them. So if you can get a good old battery charger, that's the best way to go. So basically you take the skillet and it suspends into the tank, and then the red wire goes onto these sacrificial anodes. This is just rebar. This is where the rust goes to. This is where the stuff goes to. So you put the black on the black pan, and that suspends. And then when you turn it on, it's literally pulling an electric current to these rebar posts. And that takes all the impurities, all the rust, and everything away from the skillet. It's really effective.
So I know it probably varies, but there's any rhyme or reason to how long to leave them in there? Do you do it by inspection, pull it up and look at it, and then kind of decide whether to leave it longer? Or?
That's exactly what it is, yeah. It's just a matter of when you're pleased with it, when you know that everything's come off and come clean. The more I do it, the more particular I get. I want it to be clean before I ever start into the seasoning process. If you don't get it right here and you go into the seasoning process, you're wasting your time. It's going to show itself later on whenever you're seasoning it.
So what are you thinking about doing with Kim's 3 pans? What's your kind of attack plan?
To make them look pretty. I just want them to look good for her. I want to make her proud. I know that she's attached to them and they mean a lot to her, so I want to make them look good. But what we'll probably start out with today is, since this one that I'm not sure what it is in pretty bad shape, I'll start it out in the electrolysis tank, and the other 2 will start out in the lye bath, and then we'll just start going through the process until we get them right to go into the house and be seasoned. I just love these things. I love seeing these old pans come back to life.
It must give you a lot of satisfaction to be able to take something from somebody like that and restore it, give it back to them, kind of like new, where they can keep using it for another few generations.
That's my most favorite thing about doing these, is cleaning them up and getting them back to the people that received them from their parents or grandparents or even older generations. And there's something about cast iron that I really love. The fact that it was made to last for so long. It's kind of durable and gritty. Kind of shows the character of Appalachia as far as I'm concerned. These skillets have been around for 40 to 50, in some cases 100 to 150 years, and they're going to be around for 300 more, hopefully.
For many people in Appalachia, cast iron was just part of life, something you learned to use without thinking much about it. But over time, people have come to understand what these pieces really represent. Not just cookware, but continuity. A skillet used by a grandmother can still be used by a grandchild decades later. There aren't many things like that left. Things that don't wear out, don't get replaced, but instead get passed on.
So it was good coming down and seeing you today. I was looking forward to coming down. We got a friend, Kim, that's got some family skillets, and I'm redoing them for her. So I was kind of hoping to come down and talk to you because I know that's something you've been doing for a long time.
Yes.
What's your name?
Jeremy Raymond. I was born and raised in Oconee County, South Carolina. Grew up in Walhalla, graduated from Walhalla High School, and I just left here one time, working out on the road, and found myself back here. So there ain't no place like home. So
I'd be curious, what got you into cast iron in the first place? How did you start messing around with it and fooling around? Did you grow up with it?
I've been around cast iron cookware my whole life. My grandmother used it, her mother used it, my mother used it. I learned how to cook by watching my mom cook in the kitchen with cast iron. That's pretty much all she used was cast iron. And that's pretty much how I fell in love with cast iron. And I've been using cast iron ever since, and I still use it to this day. I cooked breakfast this morning on my cast iron skillet. So that's something that it's been in my life the whole time I've been here, and I hope I could pass some of it down to whoever I leave behind. So
yeah. Well, you got a lot of cast iron sitting right here, and I know you got a lot more out in a storage container. Yeah. So it's more than just a hobby for you. What got you more in this vein of cast iron, of refinishing them and collecting? What got you going down that road?
Well, what got me started was I had several pieces that had been passed down to me from my grandmother and my mother. I wanted to redo them. because they had all the crust and everything, crud built up on them over the years, and I just wanted to redo them, and so I built me an electrolysis tank out of a 55-gallon barrel, the first one I ever made, and I used old lawnmower blades for the anode, steel for the inside of it, and I stripped and cleaned those skillets and re-seasoned them, and then, you know, and showed them to some people, and they looked so good that, you know, people started getting in touch with me. Hey, I heard you can restore cast iron pans, and would you restore some for me? And I was like, yeah, I can. I started doing a few for people, and the next thing I know, I had the whole floor of the shop covered in pans from people wanting me to restore them. And I did that for a long time, and I still do. I still do restore pans for people, but not at the level I was in the beginning, because I can't keep up with my own stuff and all that at the same time. It's a job. You know this. You know how everybody thinks it's easy, but it ain't. There's a lot of work into it.
I know for me, I've had the opportunity to restore cast iron that has been more in line with how you got started. It's where family members have wound up with generational pieces that their great-grandparents had or the grandparents had. To see the joy on their faces when I give them that cast iron back cleaned up, I think more than anything else I do, that means the most to me.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I actually cleaned 5 pieces for a lady that works with me. That she just had breast cancer and had her breast removed and everything, and she brought me those 5 pieces and wanted me to restore them, and I did it for her, and she came to pick them up, and she asked me, how much do I owe you? And I said, you don't owe me a penny. And she literally broke down and just started crying.
Yeah.
And but that made me more happy to do that for her than anything in the world.
It's the truth, ain't it?
And she absolutely loved them. She said they look just like they did when my mama bought them.
So another thing that I was going to ask you about along those same lines, I mean, so many of the old Appalachian ways and the old customs are dying off, and it's I hate to see so many of those things go, and that's something else about cast iron, I think, is it was made to last a long time, and so that some of them have fallen in disrepair and in disuse, but I feel like when I'm able to restore those and give them back to the family, that in my own way, I'm able to carry that legacy on, and hopefully it'll pass on into more generations.
Yes, sir. That's you're exactly right, and that's the same way I feel about it.
I was just going to ask you, what kind of cast iron do you tend to run into, and which ones do you think were more prevalent here in the Southern Appalachians?
Probably the most prevalent here in the Southern Appalachians is probably going to be Birmingham Stove Range and Lodge, like I said. And you do tend to see a lot of Wagner here, but you don't see a lot of Griswold and Erie here like you do up north. But and I think that's because, you know, the Lodge foundry is right there in Tennessee, and the Birmingham foundry was right there in Alabama. They actually started in Atlanta. But the Birmingham Stove and Range and Lodge stuff was probably sold in every hardware store around here, right along beside the screwdrivers and hammers and everything else.
Yeah.
They were really easy to get, you know, readily available.
So prior to the foundries, let's talk a little bit about stuff that kind of was pre-1900. You see, I know that's not an exact date, but right around anything pre-1900 typically is gate marked. It has the gate mark visible along the bottom of the skillet. And am I right in saying that it was predominantly your local blacksmiths and people like that were making those skillets?
People were making them right in their backyards. And they probably, as far back as the 1850s, 1860s, they started forging cast iron pots and pans in forges all around the country. People's backyards, they were making pots and pans all over the place. There's so many unknown foundries pieces out there. I run across them all the time, and they're beautiful pieces, but nobody knows who made it because it could have been made in anybody's backyard. Nobody know who made it. There's just a lot of history there.
There is a lot of history. And you're doing your part of passing that history on, and they'll still be here 100 years from now.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like I tell people. People bring me a pan, and they'll ask me, what is this? And I'll tell them, and well, how old do you think it is? And I tell them how old it is, and they're like, wow, really? And I'm like, yeah, that's 125-year-old pan. And they're like, wow, and it's made it this far without anything happening to it. And I said, yeah, and if you take care of it, it'll last another 120 years. And beyond.
And beyond.
And beyond. It'll be here forever as long as you take care of it, And they don't make things like that anymore,
no.
That you could pass down from generation to generation to generation. But cast iron cookware is one of those things that you can pass down from generation to generation, and it means something.
I think that cast iron's making a huge comeback. I think that younger people are starting to get in cast iron. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the younger people are coming back to it?
There's a lot of information out there now about this cookware that's out there on the market now with all these Teflon non-stick surfaces and stuff like that. That's really, really not healthy for people. And cast iron is one of the few cookwares out there that's actually got health benefits to it. It actually puts iron back into your system. Every time you cook with it, you get iron back into your system. And that's one of the key nutrients your body needs. A couple of years ago, when Hurricane Helene came through, I had people reaching out to me from all over. People were wanting to buy cast iron cookware from me because they didn't have any way to cook or any way to provide food for their families, to cook it. And I had a lot of local people just right around here that wanted to buy cast iron cookware from me because they know that they could use it over an open flame, over a fire. I still get people to this day wanting to buy pans from me for that very reason. So, that's another reason that they figured out, you can use this stuff primitive. You can cook over fire or whatever, any kind of heat source you can use.
Fire, stovetop, in the oven, in the coals, it don't matter, right?
It don't matter. You can set it right in the middle of the fire and cook it. And, it's just been part of my heritage, and it's part of most people around here that I know, that I grew up with. I grew up dirt poor, and you had to have something you could pass down from generation to generation. And cast iron cookware was one of those things. We didn't get to go out and buy a lot of new things just because we seen a commercial on TV about it. And I love cast iron cookware. I love it. I love cooking on it. I love to strip it down. I love to restore it. And I love seeing the look on people's faces after I restore it for them and they come pick it up. It gives me a lot of pleasure.
So we've got our last skillet in from the vinegar bath, and we're about to start through the whole seasoning process. One of the first things I like to do is just get it running under some really cold water. Sometimes these skillets can flash rust when you first take them out. If you get them under the cold water, that stops that from happening. So let's get this rinsed off. So we're going to get this thing scrubbed down real good with an SOS pad before we put the oil on it and get it in the oven. Just want to make sure that you give it a real good scrub down. And I'm going to get this rinsed off. I do this until it doesn't feel I don't feel any more slime. Okay, we're going to get this dried off. Okay, we've preheated our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to now put this over in the oven and let it knock off any more moisture that may be hanging there. Another thing that does is it opens up the pores on the metal. It's actually porous, and it'll open up the pores to receive that Crisco, that oil. We'll give that just a few minutes to heat up. Okay, so we've got the skillet out of the oven. We've got the pores opened up a little bit. You can use different types of oils, and there's all kinds of information online and on YouTube about the different oils. I've tried different oils, grapeseed oils. I always come back to good old Crisco. So let's get some on here. All I'm doing is just making sure I've got everything coated well.
And you're doing seasoning on the inside and the outside.
I'm seasoning the pan all over, all the surface. And right at this point, all I'm doing is just making sure it's coated in oil. Big mistake people make is they leave too much oil on the skillet or pan. And I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So once it's coated like that, I take one set of rags and I wipe it, try to wipe it dry. So I take that. I'm just going to try to rub everything off after I've already put the oil on there. Essentially what I'm trying to do is rub it completely off. And this is very important. I've experimented around with it. I've tried to speed up the process by leaving more oil on the pan, and it'll drip and make for an uneven coating of seasoning. So once I've wiped that down completely with one set, I go to a second set of dry rags, and I'm going to do the same process. I'm trying to wipe it completely dry as if I wanted the oil off of it. You will not actually take the oil off of it, but that's how you want to wipe it down, especially on the cooking surface itself. So another thing I like to do is I like to put it in the oven upside down. That way if there are any drips, it'll help take care of it. So at 400 degrees, we've got about an hour to go before we take it out.
And then you're going to do that multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. I'll show you an example. This is the first skillet we've been working on for Kim and Ken. This is a number 10 Birmingham stove and range. And this has been through 5 processes just like you watched. So 5 hours in the oven, 5 coatings. It's beautiful.
I know they'll be thrilled. It's come a long way from what they gave us to what you've been able to clean up and do now.
Yeah, I hope they're happy with it.
So I know used to they said not to put soap on these things, I guess because they had lye in it. How would you keep them clean?
Yeah. It's important to know that there's a lot of different ways of thinking and a lot of different schools with cast irons. So the most important thing is to find what works for you. I use a little bit of soap on them. I wash them with a little bit of soap. The detergents today and the soaps today don't have the amount of lye in them, so it doesn't affect it. What I'll do with it is I cook, and then when it's cooled down, I'll clean it. If I can clean it effectively without soap, I'll do that, just wiping it down. But if it needs a little soap, I'll use a little soap, and then I dry it out real well. And then I'll put it on the stovetop, heat it up just a little bit again to drive that moisture off. And then when it's cooled down, I just put a coating of oil on it and wipe it dry, just like I did in the seasoning process, and then store it that way until I use it again.
Now these 3 skillets began again, cleaned, restored, ready to be used once more. Not as relics, but as part of a living family, passed down, just like they always were, from one set of hands to another. And maybe one day they'll hang on another wall, waiting again for the next generation to see their value. Because in Appalachia, we don't just pass down stories, we pass down the things that made them. And like the people who use them, these skillets were made to last.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome.
You doing all right? It's
Doing
good to see
really
you.
good.
You doing okay today?
Yeah, doing good.
Sure is beautiful out
We were
here.
just getting ready to go in the house. This is my sister-in-law, Donna,
Hey Scott, it's nice
How
to
are
meet
you?
you.
It's good to meet
and
you.
my niece, Amelia.
Hey, Amelia, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing okay today?
Yes, doing well.
What a beautiful day. Oh, my. It's
It's
beautiful.
incredible. I'm so excited for y'all to see the See you, Mama Skillets.
Oh wow, we're
excited
excited.
too.
They're for Donna and Amelia. So if you want to go in, maybe we'll let them see them.
Let's do it.
All right.
So Kim, I just wanted to tell you again, thank you for letting me do this for you.
We're so glad you're doing it.
It's such an honor. So I'm just gonna let y'all take a look at them. You remember what they look like hanging on the wall.
Oh, I can't wait to see them. Wow, they look brand new. Oh wow! Now this was Mom's cornbread. This was a cornbread pan here, and then I'm not sure about that one. I'm not.
We're gonna talk about this one.
Wow, this is beautiful. This is so. They were just rusted and corroded. This was Mom's fried. She fried potatoes in this
that
pan.
one
Yeah,
all
she
the
fried
time.
potatoes in that pan.
Birmingham stove and range.
Oh, they're beautiful. God, she would have been so proud.
So do you think your mom would be pleased to know
Oh,
Yeah,
she
would.
would be too.
Yeah, she'd be tickled to death. Now she would want these girls to have them too, Scott, and that's what I wanted. I wanted them to get out of that room and go to these girls.
She's one of these cooks that never had to measure anything, that always just
No.
threw it in a bowl, and it always came out perfect. Always. And I would say, Nanny, now how do you make that? Give me the recipe. You know, because that's all I knew how to do. And she said, well, I don't have a recipe. So I would watch and watch.
She just
And
put a
watch.
pinch here and a pinch there.
And, you know, try to learn how to cook. And she's basically who taught me how to cook.
So I was going to take a second and just tell you a little bit about the pans real quick. So the one you're holding there is a number 6 Wagner. And that was made probably in the late 40s, early 50s, right around in there somewhere. And then this one's a little bit newer. This is a Birmingham stove and range, number 10, and it's from what, 1960, 61, somewhere right around in there.
Not about that one.
But then I really wanted to tell you about this one. Remember, we couldn't tell what this
Yeah.
was, right? So,
Yeah. It's so much smoother than the others.
and it's interesting that you notice that,
Doesn't
because that
have-
points to the craftsmanship of older pieces. That's a no-notch lodge, but that was probably made about 1918 to 1922.
Wow. Wow. We might even take them camping. Mama used
We
to
might
take
take that one, guys.
this one.
No.
So we went maybe once a year. We went to Laurel when it came trout season, and we would catch trout. Mama would take along fatback. We had our own hogs, so she'd take along fatback, and we would dig ramps and build a fire. And we had our little picnic out, and that was always a yearly thing, usually when trout season came in. And I'm thinking that big one was the one that she used to fry trout in.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? It's ramp season again
It
and
is
trout
trout
season
season.
again.
It is. It's coming up.
Maybe you need to take that out and do the
Maybe,
same thing
maybe
again
we
later on.
will. Maybe we will. Scott, they're beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm
You'll
just thrilled
You'll
to
just
get to do them for you, and I hope that you'll use them and then pass them on down, and they'll stay in your family.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of your way and let you enjoy them,
That's
okay?
all.
Thank you
All
so,
right. Thank
so
you for letting me do them,
much.
okay?
These girls will love them.
It was a pleasure meeting you all. Please enjoy them, okay?
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
They're beautiful.
I just can't get over this one.
I like
It
this
just-
one because I just remember Mom.
Well,
You're going
I
to take
know.
this one. Which one are you going to take? Since this is the cornbread one and your memories are of Nanny and the cornbread, Amelia, I think you're going to get the one she baked cornbread in all the time. So there you are. And I'm going to give Heath and Sarah the bigger one. And then Donna this one. I wanted you to have this one just because Scott said this was like from 1918 and it's older, and I wanted you to have this one, and I think Nanny would be right pleased with you having this one. So there you are, and then we'll give this one to Sarah when we see her.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, Nanny loved you girls.
I did to pass it down to my little girl one day. Tell her the stories.
On this channel, I hope to continue to honor the people, vibrant culture, and strong traditions of Appalachia. If you share my interest in the people and places I call home, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons to learn more about this way of life. The black and white photographs in our videos are taken from my 3 Appalachian-themed books, which are available online. You can find us at thefaceofappalachia.com and barnwellphoto.com and on Instagram at Tim Barnwell Photography. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again soon.